Hey, you guys, is anybody here? Did anybody make the transition over? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Hold on, I have to reboot all this crazy thing. Hang on, I'm gonna be right back. Okay, can you hear me now? Please, please, please. Yay! Okay, so I'll have to figure out what the heck with YouTube, but for now, this is where we are. Awesome, yay, yay, yay. Okay, I'll have to readjust a little bit where I'm sitting, but let's go ahead and get going. Sorry. Oh. So anyway, have a seat on your mat. Just find a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Align your heels to the groin as much as you can. Sit up nice and tall here. Take your inner thigh rotation. And then engage the belly so that we're tall and supported. Lifting the pelvic floor, lower belly in and up. Relax into your shoulders and your hips as much as you can. Feel your chest lift. Close your eyes. And begin focusing on your breath. Let that breath deepen. Finding a nice, full, just beyond comfortable place for your breath. And then remember, that is the thing. So if you sat and consciously breathed for an hour, that's yoga sometimes. It might be one of those days. So let's connect some movement to the breath. Let's extend the arms out to the sides. On an inhale, stretch them up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, bring them back down again. Up again, inhale. And down. And we're gonna go one more time like that. Come back up to the top, inhale. Take just your left hand back to the mat and give yourself a little tip over to that left side. Staying even on the pelvis. Extend out long through the crown of your head. And with the next inhale, bring yourself back up to the middle. And we'll switch, taking it over to the right. A nice big breath here, open into your side ribs. And then back up to the top again, inhale. Let's go one more time on each side like that. So take it left. Inhaling center. And then back over to the right. We'll come back up to the middle, inhale. And then exhale, releasing your arms back to the sides. So let's come around onto hands and knees then. Bring the wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Cushion either one of those things if you need a little TLC there with your hands or knees. Nice and even on the four corners of the hands, and the belly still pulled in here. So on an inhale, we're going to drop the belly toward the floor, pulling the shoulders shoulder blades together on the back. And then exhale and round through the spine. Tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone under. And let's just flow back and forth like that. Connected to the breath. Working nice and evenly up through the spine, but see if you can focus on your shoulder blades a little bit more. So really pull them together as you inhale, and then spread them wide apart as you exhale. Let's take just a couple more flows like that, in and out. And then come back to a center, this tabletop position. So then bring the hands about a handprint ahead of that, shift into kneeling plank. Let the shoulders and hips come forward. Shoulders are neutral on the back here, hands are still nice and even, the belly's pulling in, supporting the lower back. And then let's lift the knees away from the floor. Push through the heels, engaging the legs. From there, go ahead and lift your hips, make your way to down dog, and let yourself just kind of shift and wiggle, stretch into your first down dog here. And as you make your way into this position, really remember to ground into the four corners of the hands. Maybe your heels touch the floor here, and maybe they don't too much. Don't worry about that. Let's go ahead and step the right foot forward, and we're going to come into a lunge. So work your toes all the way up to your fingers here. Go ahead and drop the back knee. And then let's take this right leg straight. So we want to kind of isolate into the right hamstrings here. It's not completely isolating, but you want to feel this more than, say, your lower back or your middle back or wherever else you might be feeling it. Nice neutral spine. Take a big breath here. And then we're going to bend back into that knee. Let the hips come forward. Feeling square through your hips, nice and long through your spine here. Bring the right hand to your hip. Rotate the belly around toward the thigh. Turning the side ribs back, take the shoulder back, extend out through the front of your head. Let's release the twist. And take the leg straight again. See if you can find a little bit deeper stretch in that hamstring, so you can flex your foot back to add in. You can take a deeper fold forward if that's you. Just find where you've got a little bit more stretch in your hamstring. And then bend again. Let the hips come low. So keeping the hips low here, your hands can stay on the mat if they need. Otherwise, climb up on the thigh and begin to open and lift the chest toward the ceiling. And you can stay here with the hands supporting on the leg. You can press into the leg a little bit to take your chest and head back some more. Or you can take the arms up. And if the arms start to move backward, you've got the extra body weight moving you a little bit deeper. Let's release that. Lift the back knee so we can step back to our down dog. And then from here we'll switch sides. So bring the left foot forward. Take the right knee to the mat, adjust your toes all the way up to the top here so you've got good knee ankle alignment. And then when you got that, go ahead and take the left leg straight. So finding your stretch here. Bend into the knee. Extending long through the crown of the head and then adding in your twist. Left hand comes to the hip and we'll rotate around. Releasing the twist. Take the leg straight again. See if you can find that little bit deeper stretch. And then once more, bend. Letting the hips shift forward. So you can stay low and just lift your chest for sure. You can climb up, coming a bit more vertical with the upper body. You can press away and add a little bit extra there, and or extend the arms. With the body weight of the arms, pull you back a little bit deeper even maybe. You can absolutely look up. Just try to keep your head in line with your arms so that the head just doesn't fall back. We'll release that, coming back over to our lunge. Lift the back knee and step back to down dog. Rise yourself little. So remember then, four corners of the hands, pressing the chest back. We'll keep everything else as we have it here. Let's lift the right leg straight back. So high is not the goal. Keeping the hips square, pressing through the heels, that's more important than how high that right leg lifts. And then keep everything else as you have it now, and simply open your right hip. So the hips will shift, the shoulders want to too, don't let them. And your leg will naturally lift a little higher this way. You can bend the knee, point it up. Keep sinking through the left heel here. And then release that side. And we'll go to the second side. So starting simple, just lift the left leg away from the floor. Press out through your heels, keeping the hips and shoulders square. Let the hip open, take the toes nice and high, and then bend at the knee here. Shoulders stay level. The knee is pointing toward the ceiling-ish. And then we'll release that. Coming back to our down dog. And from there, go ahead and drop down to the knees, sit back in a child's pose for just a couple breaths. And to regroup for a moment. Make sure the breath is flowing nice and full and smooth wherever you are here. And then we're going to make our way back up. Walking the feet forward, let's come into a standing fold. We're going to start a little wider here than normal. So take the feet just outside of the shoulders or so. The toes point forward. And we're just gonna be really loose and relaxed here. So a little bend in the knees if you like. You can grab opposite elbow here. Let your head hang. Just be really loose and relaxed, whatever that looks like for you. So feeling your hamstrings, feeling a nice stretch up your spine. And then we're gonna release the hands, and they fall where they fall. Maybe that's the floor, maybe not. Walk the hands over towards your left foot. Allow the body weight to kind of lean over to that side. The knees can still be bent here if that's where you prefer to be. And then we're going to come back through the center, take it over to the right. Let's come back to the middle. And we're gonna open the feet a step wider. So you wanna be all on or all off your mat. And if you wanna turn sideways on your mat, you can absolutely do that. So we want the four corners of the feet to be even into the floor here. And the legs we want to be even. So if they have to be bent, they're evenly bent. And sometimes that can be a little tricky, but do what you can do. Fingertips to the floor. Okay. And then walk them over to the left again without letting your hips shift. So if you feel that same kind of shift over to the left that we did earlier, put your legs back in the middle, or your hips back in the middle, really. Come back through the center, walk over to the right. And then let's come back to center again. So fingertips to the floor. Again, if the knees have to be bent, try and make them as evenly bent as you can. From here, we're gonna bring the right hand kind of up underneath the face. So it's in the middle here, bringing the left hand to the hip. Let's rotate the belly around to the left. Think turning your side ribs toward the ceiling, drawing your shoulder back, maybe looking up at the ceiling here, pushing into the hand on the mat, keeping the feet really even, the knees even into the mat here. The knees aren't into the mat, but you get the idea. Take another big breath. And then release that, coming back to the center. Left hand to the middle, right hand to the hip, and then rotate around. So same idea on your second side. Keeping the knees even, the feet even, hips nice and level here. And then we're going to release that twist and bring the feet back in, up underneath the hip bones. From here, hands to the thighs, we're going to come halfway up. So parallel-ish to the floor, belly's in, shoulders are back. You can lean on your legs as much as you need to lean. I don't know if you can hear that crazy honking, I hope not. From here, we'll bend into the knees, sit back to a supported chair. Knees, toes, hips, all in the same plane. Tuck your tailbone if you feel like your bone's sticking out back there, lift your chest. And the hands at the thighs, at center, extending the arms maybe. We'll take another nice big breath. Inhale, stretch to the ceiling, and then exhale, release the arms. So we're gonna move into some sun salutes here. We're gonna break them down and take our time in them. So try not to rush ahead, right? Let's inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, take yourself over into a fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And then exhale, step yourself back into a plank. From the knees, if you'd like, take it down to the belly, elbows in nice and tight. And we're gonna stop here for a second. I'm not sure you can see me, but we're gonna prop the elbows up underneath the shoulders. So tuck them in up under the shoulders. The arms are out in sphinx so that they're parallel to each other here. We want to push into the floor to let the chest open and lift. Turn the tailbone towards your heels so your lower back stays nice and long. And then not only push with the forearms, but pull, like you're going to pull your belly button between your elbows. See if you can pull your shoulder blades together on your back a bit. Make sure you're breathing. And then I'm going to release that back down to the belly. Sliding the hands next to the side ribs. Hug your elbows in. Lift your belly, then your chest all the way up. Take it back to a down dog. And then on an inhale, step the feet forward. Back to the fold again. Halfway up on your next inhale. And then exhale back over. Come all the way up, stretching to the ceiling. And then exhale, release the arms. So same idea again. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forward. Come halfway up with your inhale. And then exhaling, step yourself back into your plank again. Knees still here if you need. Take it down to the belly. we're gonna work into cobra this time. So the hands are gonna stay next to the side ribs here, hugging the elbows in. Simply roll your shoulders up by your ears, together on your back, down toward your hip bones. We're gonna hold this though. Imagine sewing your elbows together on your back. Okay? Do that same idea, the pull and the press into the hands instead of the forearms here. The elbows are at the waist, the chest is open and lifted. And then we release back down again. Lift your belly, then your chest, back to down dog. And then we'll inhale, step the feet forward, back into the fold. Halfway up on your next inhale. Exhale, back over. Come all the way up, stretch to the ceiling. Exhale at the top. So let's go one more time like that. We're gonna put in a little combo of all of those little back bends there. So let's inhale, sit into chair. And then exhale, take yourself into fold. Halfway up. Exhaling, step yourself back, plank. Take knees if you'd like, drop it down. Hands next to the side ribs, roll into the shoulders, pull with the hands, little press. Maybe press hard enough that your arms are almost straight. Shoulders are still down and back, the chest is open and lifted, and maybe here the thighs will lift up off the floor. Release it back down. Lift the belly, lift the chest, back to down dog. And then step the right foot forward, take a lunge. Toes all the way to the fingers. You can drop the back knee again here if you'd like. Drop the back heel, otherwise lift the upper body, reaching toward the ceiling. And then exhaling as you come back down again, step back down dog. Shift forward, come to plank. And then take it down, and you decide here how deep to go. You can have a little sphinx. You can have a little baby cobra. You can lift up into your up dog variation. We're gonna take one more breath, whatever that is, and then drop back down. Lift the belly, lift the chest, back to your down dog. Then step the left foot forward. Work your toes to your fingers. Heel or knee to the mat, you decide. Inhaling up, and then exhale it back down again, and step back down dog. So one more time then, shift forward to your plank position. Knees if you'd like, down to the belly. And again, your option. Where do you want to go with this? Cobra, up dog, sphinx, laying on the floor. Release it back down, up and back, down dog. And then let's drop down to the knees and take child's pose. You can hold down dog if you prefer. Full smooth breaths wherever you are. Always, always, always. Take one more breath where you are. And then lift back into our down dog. Inhaling as we step forward, back to the fold. Halfway up. And back over again. Let's inhale, sit into a chair. And then exhale, release to the top. So we're going to take a little bit of a standing balance here. We may get a little deeper into one as we progress. So a little bit of tree. We're going to keep the feet pretty simple so with that we can open up the chest like we've been doing in our little back bends here. So wherever the feet need to be, so you get a little bit of that. So take all of the weight over into the right foot. We're going to simply lift the left knee, open at the knee, and then bring the left foot into the right leg. Your toes can be at the floor, your inner calf, or your inner thigh. Avoid being on your knee joint, tuck your tailbone under, hug your legs together. So the hands can stay here, they can come center, right? But maybe take those fingers and interlace behind your back. Draw your shoulder blades together on the back, reaching the knuckles toward the floor, lift your chest toward the ceiling. So letting the front of the body open, you may actually open into a little bit of a back bend. steady through the lower body. We'll take one more breath here. And then gently make your way back to neutral. And release that. So the same idea on the second side. All the weight over into that left foot. We'll lift the right leg. Open at the knee, and again, decide where the foot needs to go, and it may or may not be the same place as the other side. Okay, feeling steady enough. Tuck the tailbone. Standing tall, the hands stay here, come center, or again, maybe interlace behind your back. Shoulder blades pull toward each other. Knuckles reach away, chest lifts. One more big breath. Gently make your way back to neutral. Release the arms and legs. All right. So let's go ahead and take a nice big step back with the right foot. And we're going to work into a triangle here. So left toes are pointing forward, right toes are cut in a bit. And the body is as open as possible to the side of your mat, the long side of your mat. We're going to stretch the arms out. Reach forward over the left toes as far as you can reach, and then take the left hand down and the right hand up toward the ceiling. Lean on the leg if you feel like you need to. Make sure your belly's pulled in, the shoulders are in line with the hips and the ankles. You can look up at the lifted hand if you like. Imagine drawing your shoulder blades together on your back a bit here. Let your chest open. A little tiny bit of a back bend. Tiny. Not too much or you'll fall over. Let's go ahead and bend into the left knee. You can rest the forearm on the thigh here and bring the right arm up and over the ear. Stretch through those right fingertips. So the arm can absolutely stay hanging on and leaning on this left leg, but maybe it can just simply dangle down from the left shoulder. You decide how difficult to make that. Make sure the front of your body is open. That's the only thing that really matters here, right? Well, other than your breathing. And then we're going to release that, come over to a lunge. Let's drop the right knee. And just for fun, see about walking your left toes forward. And you walk them forward until they're not going to go any further forward, whatever that might look like. So you want to feel a really nice stretch in your left hamstrings, your right hip flexor, your right quadricep. You might be feeling this in your back. And as long as it's an okay sensation in your back, that's fine. If you're feeling any pinching, of course, you want to make your way on out of that. Let your chest open and lift here as much as you can. Little baby bend in this left knee if you're a hyperextender. And then we're going to wiggle ourselves back in. Find the lunge, and then step forward into fold. Bend in through the knees. With an inhale, we're going to roll the spine all the way up. And then work the second side. So stepping back with the left foot, starting to sweat a little, sorry. So right toes pointing forward, left toes pulled in. Find that alignment, make sure your belly's in. Let's reach the arms. Take it forward of the toes and let your right hand fall and your left hand lift. So lean if you have to lean, certainly. Otherwise, maybe the arm just kind of dangles. The belly's in. Shoulders in line with the hips and ankles. Bend into the knee, rest the forearm on the thigh. Take the left arm up and over the ear. And then you can let this right arm just kind of dangle or lean on the leg as much or as little as you need. Another big breath. And then let's release that. Come over to lunge again. Drop down to the back knee. Walk the right foot forward. So again, you're just looking for a stretch. If you end up in full splits, yippee for you. If you need to modify in one way or another, or you want to completely sit that out, it's absolutely fine. Make sure you're breathing. Feel a nice stretch. That's what your body needs. And then we're going to wiggle that right foot back in. Come back to our lunge. Let's step back into down dog. And then go ahead and drop down to the knees, sitting back in child's pose. So take just a couple of breaths here. Lengthen through your spine. Transitioning all that work. And then we'll make our way back to down dog. And from down dog into a fold. So feet up underneath the hip bones here. Go ahead and bend into your knees this time. With an inhale, let's roll the spine all the way up. Coming to stand back at the top of your mat again. So we're going to attempt a little bit of a balance pose here and maybe open up into a little bit bigger back bend or play with this a little bit. So let's see what happens. Remember, any variation of this is fine. If you're standing on one foot, if you have a nice open chest, that's the idea. So let's take all the weight over into the left foot this time and bend the right foot or the right knee back. Right? So the right hand is going to reach back and see about finding the right foot. Knee pointing down at the mat, tailbones tucking under, no pinching in that lower back. And this is a nice little stretch, yeah? So maybe kick the foot into the hand, see if you can feel that shoulder get drawn back. See if you can keep the left shoulder back as well, maybe reach it up toward the ceiling. And then just because it's fun, see what happens. We're going to lean forward here, lifting the right knee back. And you can come as far as you want. Can you come all the way to the floor? Opening at the knee. Pointing it up toward the ceiling-ish. So let's release whatever you got here. Try and be gentle and controlled. Sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't work. Releasing it back to the top of the mat. All right, so we've got the second side. Same idea, but it could be any variation of what we just did. So sometimes one side is one way and the other side not so much. All the way to the right. Bend the left knee back. And then the left hand finds the foot. Knee pointing at the mat, hip stays square, tailbone stays tucked. Extending the right arm. Pressing the foot into the hand so the shoulder is drawn back. Feel the chest open and lift. That's that little bit of the back bend piece for sure. And then holding here, tipping forward a little, maybe tipping forward a lot. See about bringing that right hand all the way to the floor. It'll go. Hang on to the ankle, open the hip a bit if that's you. And then let's come on out of that. Release it all, standing back at the top of the mat. So let's inhale, stretch up, give your spine a nice long stretch here, and then take it over into fold. Step back into down dog, let yourself wiggle and stretch and maneuver and whatever you need here, and then we're going to drop it down into a child's pose. Child's pose, go ahead and slide forward, come out onto your belly. I'm gonna change where the camera is. So just rest on your belly here, make a little pillow for your head. I know y'all can't see me down there. That's my pool. That'll do. All right. So we're gonna come up on the forearms like we did in our Sphinx position earlier. All right. So elbows up underneath the shoulders. Feels a little close maybe, but really tuck them up underneath. So that push down and the pull like we did earlier, same exact idea. Only we're gonna see about adding on to that. So keep the shoulders doing what they're doing. Keep your lower back nice and long. I like to slide my base hand forward a little bit. So maybe if that works for you, slide your right hand forward a bit, but keep everything else the same. Bend your left knee, and then the left hand is gonna reach back and see about finding that foot. So if you need to lean a little bit to make that happen, go ahead and lean. Press the foot into the hand so you get a little bit of extra lift. Shoulders draw back. If you want to get really fancy here, you can press harder into the right hand and lift that elbow away from the floor, getting a little bit more sensation. You decide, make sure you're breathing wherever you are. We're going to release that back down. Come all the way down and rest. And then we're gonna go to the second side. So prop on up. Elbows up underneath the shoulders. Shoulders drawn back, belly's pulled in, chest is lifted. And then the left hand maybe a little bit forward. You can move that hand too if it feels better in one place or another. Bend the right knee this time, and then the right hand finds the foot. So if you had to lean to find the foot, that's fine. Make sure the pelvis stays rooted here though. Pressing the foot into the hand, you get a little extra lift there. Shoulders back. Maybe the left hand presses into the mat. Lifting. Let's take another nice big breath. And then gently release and come all the way down again and rest. And then from there, simply roll yourself over onto your back. Take just a moment here, make sure your spine feels aligned. And then let your backside rest. So really release heavily into the floor here. From there, go ahead and take your feet flat to the floor if they're not already. And find neutral on your spine. So your backside still feels really even and neutral, those lovely aligned curves. From here, we're gonna extend the right leg straight up toward the ceiling. And again, just check in that you still feel aligned. Sometimes the hips will lift or shift to make it happen. Try and stay as neutral on your backside as you can. Fingers are going to interlace behind the right thigh here. And you can absolutely use a strap if you have a strap instead. Working with your breath, exhale, pull that leg a little closer to the body. And then inhale and let it go again a little. So just a nice, easy little in and out. And we're really looking to target that hamstrings, without letting the spine do all of the work. So if you feel the rounding,
Sometimes that right hip will kind of kick up a little bit. See if you can stay super neutral in and out like that. Let's go once more like that. Find that deepest part of the stretch. And then find neutral. From here, we're going to extend the left arm out to the left, and that's just to help the left side of the body stay glued to the mat. Support the outside of your leg with your right hand. Keep your heel in line with your hip here, that left hip on the floor. Allow the right leg to start to open out to the right. So touching the floor is not necessarily where you go. You go as far as you can, as long as the hips stay level and neutral. And you can definitely use your left hand on your left hip if that makes more sense for you. You can always use a sandbag if you have all kinds of crazy props. But normally we don't, so you do what you do. See if you can allow this right inner hip to release. Find the neutral curves in the spine. And then we're going to come back up to the middle again and release the right leg. Take a second, make sure you feel aligned. If you need to adjust, certainly adjust. And then we're going to go second side, so lift the left leg. Interlacing the fingers behind the thigh or using a strap if that's you here. Exhale, pulling the left leg in a little closer, and then letting it go again. So just nice and easy like that. And again, we're looking more for the alignment of the spine than how far those toes go. And you can picture in your head them touching the floor, the top of your mat. Makes a good visual anyway. We'll take just a couple more of those. Finding the deepest part of that stretch. And then finding a neutral place. So it's a little bit of a stretch, but nothing crazy. Again, you can use your right hand as your hip if that feels better, or extend it out to the right. Glue that side of your body to the floor. Use your left hand to support the leg as you drop it out to the left. Hang on if you need to hang on. And then let this inner hip release as much as it will. Back to the middle and release that leg. So again, just finding center and a neutral spine here. Let's go ahead and open the arms out into a T position. And you can keep it simple, just dropping the legs over to the left if you'd like here, or take the hips over to the right and then let your legs drop to the left. Relax your legs. Let your right shoulder drop back. Nice big breaths here. And of course, if you'd like, you can extend the top leg over towards the left hand there. You can extend them both. Your hamstrings are pretty long for that today, so that works. Another big breath. And then we'll make our way back up to the center again here. So same idea, you can let the legs simply drop to the right, or you can shift the hips over to the left, and then let your legs drop right. Rest the spine. Rest your legs, your shoulders. If again you're feeling it here, you can extend the left leg, a little bit deeper. one more nice big breath here. And then gently making your way back to the middle again. So let's pull the knees into the chest and just allow yourself to rock a little here. You can rock side to side, you can rock more up and down. Massage your back against the mat. Let's pull the knees in really tight to the chest. Pull them in as close as they're gonna get. And then draw the forehead toward the knees, rounding through your spine. Release that out into a full body stretch. Get nice and long again. And then release your stretch. Let your arms come down by your sides. And again here, make yourself comfortable. Find aligned. Find the neutral curves in your spine. See if you can rest your shoulders back. Notice if your legs feel equally long. Same idea with the arms. Rest the weight of the head. And let your tongue rest in the bottom of your mouth. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Releasing into the mat. Keeping the awareness on the breath, release control. See if you can simply observe the next few minutes. Keeping the mind present. If it wanders off, just bring it back. Give yourself just a few minutes to rest here. You deserve this. Stay here longer. When you're ready, slowly make your way back up to a seated position. And palms to touch, bowing your head to your heart. Namaste. Thanks for sticking with me, you guys. I will get it right next time, I promise. Have a wonderful day.